Most people think a traffic stop is a small thing. A flashing light, a quick conversation, maybe a ticket, and you're on your way. But one night on a quiet county road in South Carolina, a single traffic stop exposed an entire corrupt department and destroyed two powerful men. And the craziest part is the deputy who started it all honestly believed he had picked the easiest target in the world. Yeah, that actually happened. It was late evening when Special Agent Ava Brooks was driving north along County Road 16 about an hour outside Charleston. The rain had been coming and going all day, leaving the roads slick and the air thick like a wet blanket. You know that southern humidity that just sits on your shoulders? That kind. Ava had just finished a long task force briefing about interstate trafficking and financial crimes. She'd been in a conference room for most of the day listening to local departments try to explain why evidence kept going missing, or why arrests didn't match reports. By the time she got in her SUV, she was exhausted. Now, the thing about Ava is that when she's working officially, she looks like it. Windbreaker with the yellow letters badge clipped where everyone can see it, government vehicle, the whole deal. But that night, she wasn't wearing any of that. Just jeans, a dark hoodie, sneakers, and her hair pulled back. To someone driving past, she looked like any other woman heading home after a long day. And unfortunately to the wrong kind of person, that can be an invitation. She was doing 53 and a 55 when the red and blue lights exploded in her rearview mirror. Ava sighed quietly and checked the speedometer again just to be sure. No speeding, no swerving, registration current, taillights fine, which meant one thing. This stop probably wasn't about traffic. Still, she did everything by the book. Signaled, eased onto the gravel shoulder, put the car in park, and placed both hands on the wheel where they were clearly visible. Experience teaches you little habits like that. Sometimes those habits save your life. In the mirror, she saw the deputy step out of his cruiser. Big guy, mid-30s, squared shoulders, that slow, confident walk of someone who's used to people being nervous around him. His name tag would later read Cole Mercer. But at that moment, he was just another badge approaching her window with his hand already resting on his holster. He stopped slightly behind the doorframe, so Ava had to turn her head awkwardly to see him. That's a control tactic some officers use. It forces the driver to shift position and keeps them slightly off balance. License and registration. No greeting, no explanation, just the demand. Ava kept her tone calm. Good evening, officer. My purse is on the passenger seat. I'm going to reach for it. Instead of answering, Mercer leaned down and scanned the inside of the car. His eyes moved over the seats, the console, the dashboard. Then he asked, "This your vehicle?" "Yes, sir." He gave a short laugh. That right. It wasn't a friendly laugh either. More like the kind someone makes when they've already decided you're lying. "I asked if I could grab my ID," Ava repeated, hands still on the wheel. But Mercer ignored that. He tapped the side of the door with his knuckles and said, "You expect me to believe you own a truck like this?" Now that was the moment Ava knew exactly what kind of stop this was. Not suspicion, not investigation, just a man looking for a reason to flex power. "You can run the plate," she said evenly. "It'll confirm the registration." Mercer smirked. "I saw you cross the center line back there. Possible DUI. Step out of the vehicle." Ava knew she hadn't crossed anything. More importantly, her dashcam knew she hadn't crossed anything. "I have recording equipment," she said, "front and rear view." Mercer glanced toward the windshield and noticed the camera mounted behind the mirror. For just a split second, his expression changed. Most officers would pause there, maybe reconsider. Not Mercer. Instead, his face tightened like someone had just challenged his authority. "Step out," he repeated, unsnapping the strap on his holster, "or I'll pull you out." Now Ava's mind shifted gears. Training kicks in during moments like that. It slows everything down. She was carrying a firearm legally concealed on her right side under the hoodie. If she stepped out too quickly and he noticed the outline before understanding who she was, this situation could turn deadly in seconds. She lowered her voice slightly. "Deputy Mercer, listen carefully. I'm a federal agent. My credentials are in my purse. I am armed and I'm requesting that you de-escalate." For a moment, Mercer just stared at her. Then he laughed, loud. "Federal agent. Sure you are." He looked around at the empty road like he expected the trees to join in on the joke. "And I'm the governor." "You can check the credentials," Ava said. "They're in the purse." But Mercer had already decided the truth didn't matter. "You people always have some story," he muttered. "Lawyer, politician, cousin on the council." Then he yanked the driver's door open. Rain sprayed inside the vehicle. "Out now." Ava stayed seated. "If you touch me, you're assaulting a federal officer." Mercer grabbed her arm anyway, hard. "I'm arresting a liar," he snapped. She braced herself against the seat, refusing to be dragged out, but also refusing to strike him back. The camera was still recording, and she needed the footage to show exactly who was escalating. That seemed to make him angrier. He stepped back, breathing hard. And then everything crossed the line. Cole Mercer drew his pistol and aimed it directly at Ava's chest. "Hands up," he shouted, voice cracking with adrenaline. "Hands up or I drop you right here." Ava slowly raised both hands, calm, steady, controlled. Inside, though, her heart was pounding like a drum. "Look at me," she said. "I'm not reaching for anything. My badge is in the purse." "I don't care about your fake badge," Mercer barked. Rain tapped against the roof. The road was completely silent except for his breathing. "Let me move the purse slowly," Ava said. "You keep the weapon on me." Mercer hesitated, then nodded sharply. She reached over with 2 fingers, pulled the purse across the console, and opened the flap. Right there on top sat the credential wallet. Gold badge, photo ID, federal seal. Mercer leaned closer and looked at it. Really looked. For a second, Ava thought the situation might end right there. But pride is a powerful drug. He snorted and holstered his gun. "Nice prop," he said. Ava blinked. "Excuse me." "You heard me. Fake badge. Cute trick." Then he grabbed his radio. "Dispatch, I've got a combative suspect claiming to be FBI." That was when Ava realized something important. This man had no intention of backing down. So she reached for her phone and activated a hidden panic beacon linked to her agency's command center. The call connected through the car's speakers. "Brooks, this is command. Your distress beacon is active. Confirm status." Mercer froze. Ava looked directly at him. "Agent in distress," she said clearly. "Local deputy has drawn weapon and refused credentials. Request immediate assistance." The voice on the speaker didn't hesitate. "Copy. GPS confirmed. Tactical unit returning from operation nearby. Air support 2 minutes out." Mercer's face went pale. "What the hell did you do?" he whispered. Ava gave a small, cold smile. "I asked for backup." Then they both heard it. The deep chopping rhythm of helicopter blades in the distance. At first it was faint, then louder. Then suddenly the entire road exploded with wind and light as a helicopter spotlight pinned Mercer in place like an insect under glass. Within seconds, 3 black SUVs roared onto the scene and boxed in the vehicles. Doors flew open. "Drop the weapon. Hands on your head." Mercer looked around wildly. 10 seconds ago, he had been the most powerful person on that road. Now 6 federal agents had rifles trained on him. His radio fell into the mud. His knees followed. Agents rushed forward, cuffed him, removed his weapon, and forced him face down into the gravel. Ava stepped out of the SUV slowly. Her supervisor, Marcus Kane, approached immediately. "You okay?" "I'm fine," she said. "He drew on me." Mercer twisted his head toward them. "I'm a cop," he shouted. "This is a mistake." Ava opened the credential wallet again and held it in front of his face. "Special Agent Ava Brooks," she said quietly. "Read it carefully this time." That arrest turned out to be just the first domino. Because when federal investigators searched Mercer's locker later that night, they found something disturbing. Several driver's licenses, all belonging to women, none tied to official arrests or reports. When those women were contacted, the truth began to unravel. Mercer had been stopping travelers, threatening charges, taking IDs, sometimes demanding favors in exchange for letting them go. And Mercer wasn't acting alone. The evidence pointed directly at Sheriff Leon Treadwell, a man who had run the Pine Hollow Department like his personal kingdom for nearly 2 decades. By sunrise, federal agents were at Treadwell's ranch with a warrant. He was feeding documents into a shredder when they arrived. When he stepped outside and saw armored vehicles on his lawn, he knew the game was over. "Sheriff Leon Treadwell, Ava announced you are under arrest for conspiracy and civil rights violations." The trials that followed became national news. Video footage from Ava's dash cam showed Mercer laughing at her credentials and pointing a loaded gun at a cooperative driver. The jury didn't need long. Mercer was convicted on multiple counts and sentenced to 21 years in federal prison. Sheriff Treadwell received life. Months later, Ava drove down that same stretch of road again. The old Pine Hollow Department had been dissolved and replaced under state oversight. The gravel shoulder where Mercer had aimed that gun looked ordinary now. Quiet. But Ava knew something most people don't. Mercer wasn't just one bad man. He was a product of a system that allowed power to go unchecked for years. Plenty of people had seen pieces of it. They just looked away. So here's the question I keep thinking about. Was Mercer's sentence justice, or just the bare minimum after years of abuse? And do you think people like him are rare, or do they only seem rare because most of the time nobody is recording? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you've ever seen a situation where someone abused authority until the wrong person finally pushed back. Because stories like this remind us of one thing: no badge is powerful enough to hide the truth forever.